Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trade with Jay. Um, and welcome to another week. It's October 12th, 2025, this Sunday evening. Just trying to do a quick market recap and what we are looking for this upcoming week. And what ideally we are looking for over this next course of week for us to trade with and signals that will be sent out. Um, so first things first, let's go over some charts together, and then just to recap, last week we are at a $1,200 profit as of last week. This was the first week profit, so now, of course, the second week is starting up this week. Just wanted to go over a couple of charts really quickly. Pound yen. We are at the moment we are still waiting to see some setups on most of these charts. Honestly, just wanted to go over a monthly chart. We are on a monthly chart to kind of show you where these trend lines are forming, and you can have a better idea of what we are looking at on a, on a monthly chart. And then secondly, if you go into the daily, you will see a little bit more of what I'm talking about right there. And then if you go into the hourly, which I like to trade on pound yen, usually is the hourly is what I'm really looking at. So you guys remember last week we were able to capitalize on this little trend line and then make a sale somewhere here, and we had a winning trade there. So now waiting to see which side this breaks. There's no big news coming up, and the Asian session should open up in another couple of hours here. And so when that happens, we'll see if we have some volume to get a trade, and at that point, I'll send the signals on which direction I'm taking. Either way, wanted to kind of really quickly, show you something like on TradingView. I'm on TradingView right now. One of the cool things about TradingView is you can set alerts. Of course, this is a paid plan, like what I'm doing right now. So whenever the line crosses either way, only once, and when you create it, right, whether it's pound yen, you can also do price. You can do volume, you can do crossing, cross up, cross down, right? I like to do crossing either way. This way it gives me that whenever it touches that line, it gives me the sends me a signal on my phone, and then once I create it, it'll be active right there, right? So I've done that to our gold trade today as well. So either it breaks up, and then I can do the same thing too when it breaks down, crossing, and I like to set expiry date somewhere in the future. This way, if I don't want it, I can, once one of these things hit, I can go ahead and cross the other one out. So I've created that right there, and so now, just purely sitting on our hands, waiting for a proper setup to form. Nothing really, standing up except for this line right there. Looks like a small resistance forming up, if you can see, right? Remember, these are hourly candles, so and you will see that there are some liquidity grabs up there because of that, right? You see, like even here, that same resistance line. So if I were to draw a box, this is something that I'll keep a close eye on. Nothing, again, it's nothing too elaborative, right? Like something like that, just to kind of keep an eye on, to see it was just one, two, three times that it tried to break out, and however the sellers have been more aggressive whenever we've come to that line. So if I you see that, right? So ideally I want to see one of these trend lines break, but also to see if it gets closer to this line again, to see if it breaks out, or if it becomes weak with volume, right? So something I'm going to keep an eye on the pound yen. This is going to be something that is going to set up really nicely for us, at least with what I'm seeing right now. I don't see any other great setups, of course, with any other a pair that I trade, but I like to show them really quickly as well. So pound yen is something I'm really closely watching for today. And then you'll see the oil, crude oil, and we had a trade last week on this as well when it came to this trend line right here, this green one, and we were able to capitalize on a nice $750 profit right there. So now, just to go back into our monthly, you will see where these trend lines come from. We are on this monthly kind of trend line right there. You see that, right? So I'm so closely monitoring here to see what this will do. But so far, if you look at the 4 hour or the 1 hour, which I like to trade again on the crude oil, you will see that there's a little bit of a bounce right through that trend line. It broke on Friday, and now trying to regain that. So just keeping a very close eye. Let me kind of change this right there. Okay, so keeping a very close eye on crude oil too, but I do need to see a little bit of volume before I jump into this trade. So a good candle breakout, like a nice 1 hour breakout, and then maybe a retest, and then to see if we get a bounce there. So that's our crude oil, and then jumping into um, gold. Same thing, gold was at an all-time high at, I think, 40 60, yeah, no, 40 59 40 60 around that area. It broke this trend line. You see that was 1 2 3 4 times that it was about 4 touch point trend line on Friday, and then boom, right below, with that market crash and the text, I mean the 100% tariff that was announced on Friday. But after that, it's been improving. And we see that there's a little bit of a bounce there as well. So trying to see if we can regain this trend line and see if it breaks above. This would be a good buy for us. But again, can touch gold for the reason, again, it's just one of those things, right? Like all-time high. I'm not a huge fan of trading all-time highs, but still waiting to see if it's set up for us, and how that will set up over the next few days on gold. And then again, right, like, I mean, you can remember, right, I mean, right there, you see that right there, there's a strong resistance over that 458 459 area. So and it looks like this candle right there, if I draw a line, I mean, draw a little box right there. Let me kind of show you what I'm talking about. Oops, sorry. Show you what we are looking at. Let me, here we go, right? You see that, right? Again, right, the whenever it came all the way to that resistance, sellers trying, buyers trying to break out, and it looks like sellers are now coming back in. So this will be a key area for you to look at if you are trading gold. you know Again, right, if it breaks above, great. If it comes back, and then see if there's a retest with volume, where the sellers are bringing it back up but back down, just like what's happening right now. This will be a great place for us to place a sell. So something like this, right? Like if I were to place a sell here, I would bring my stop loss to about 462, right? And then do a 1 to 5, 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio somewhere there. Yeah, something like that is what I'm really looking at. So okay to give $500 out. Again, this is me, right? My losses are always $500, as you guys know, and then for me to get $1,000 if it works in my favor. So that's what I will look for. I'm not really confident entering the trade yet. Waiting for a few more confirmations, especially with volume, because as you can see, right, like came all the way down, but see how it's making higher highs as it goes. This is not that's not the ideal setup for me yet, right? I want to see a couple of candles break out, and then give me this, where it's rejecting that resistance line over there. So again, if you are a daredevil, want to go with that, that's absolutely totally fine. But I'm still waiting for some more confirmation, and once I get, I will send it to you over the over our signal chat. We had a great BTC trade last week. Again, the crypto market had a very volatile day on Friday, so don't want to really touch it yet, but it broke. And if I wanted to see if I can show you this um, daily trend line, right, kind of broke, but you see how it has gained back, right above. It broke on Friday and then right back up, right? So that is where I'm a little concerned about whether if I'm going on a short. We were short last Friday around somewhere 122, I think, was where we were short, and we were able to get a nice $750 there on this trade. But now, what are we doing, right? On a daily, it really doesn't looks like it broke, but again, went right back up. So still waiting to see what we can do here. If it breaks this trend line, this would be an ideal buy for us. So we're waiting and watching to see if it will break up or break down below this trend line again. If it does, I might actually go into another trade for BTC, Bitcoin trade. So right now, simply waiting, again, sitting on our hands. As you guys can see, nothing has set up yet for us to really get into anything, at least from the way I trade, right? And so sitting on our hands, waiting and making sure that we get into the right opportunities. So those are actually what I'm looking at. Want to go over the Dow and Dow Jones, right? Let me see if I can bring that up. Yeah, NAS 100 here really quickly. On Friday, this was a huge drop, right? I think it was like a 900 point drop on Friday, as you guys can see on the daily, and went right below our trend line. So our trend line was something like this as of Friday, right? Something like I think something like that, right? And you can see that we went right below, right? Like boom, right? So now I'm going to regain control, right? That's a pretty bad candle right there. Happened because of tariffs, so we get it. But still waiting to see if we can, you know, regain that trend line right there, or are we going to see another sell. Really don't have any thoughts either way. I'm going to wait for the market to show us what we need to do on a 1 hour candle right there, right below the 10 SMA as well on the hourly. So nothing too crazy to write home about. Again, right, these are the days that we have to wait and see what happens. Do not There's really no point getting into the market just because we want to get into the market, right? We don't do that. We just want to make sure that the market shows us the opportunity, especially the big players, the big banks show us the directions, and then after that we get into those kind of directions. So as of right now, still waiting. And as soon as I get into a trade this week, I will go ahead and let you know. Really no news this week except for Friday when we have the month-over-month PPI and the core PPI. We have the retail sale, unemployment, all of that coming up on Friday. So Friday would be an excellent day for you to go and do something else, right? Don't trade. Don't get into these volatile days, especially Fridays. Especially if you have profits on your plate, do not give it back on Friday. The worst feeling ever. So again, great. I think we're just waiting for. I just want to go over this week and kind of show you what we are looking for and what we are waiting for. As you can see, at least the way I trade, I don't have any setups yet. And as soon as I do, I will be sending on over our signals channel. If you haven't joined yet, please make sure you're going through I think it's the link is right down there, and you should be able to register for it and send us a Telegram message, and I'll tell you how to do it. It's $100 a month, and just last week, I think anyone who traded with me would have gained that within that week. So anyway, thank you very much, guys, for watching. Again, if you like what you hear, what you see, please like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you.